What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video. Today I'll be going through my settings. Most of the time I don't really change my settings, so this will be for now updated, and it will be probably the same for the next at least half year, if not longer. But I wanted to share the settings. These are also some tips and tricks. There's definitely some settings I recommend for you to try out, because some settings are simply just better. But a lot, like 90% of all the settings are more personal preference. There's no such thing as a best setting or a best sensitivity. I'm just here to share kind of what I use. You might like, here you can find the crossplay off or on setting, and control hints. You might like this if you're new to the game. You get some hints on the side of your screen, like, go to the objective, or I don't know what kind of hints it's saying, but I turn this one off. And then this one tells you if you need to reload or not. Some people might find this annoying. This is where you can turn this on or off. For my field of view, I use 90. Vehicle, this is the one I recommend. Field of view is more personal, but vehicle field of view, I recommend turning this all the way up. This will allow you to spot other vehicles or threats around you a lot easier. You know, when you're in a tank, you can see people run up to you that want to try and C5 you or rocket launch you a lot easier if you turn it all the way up. ADS FOV, I have this on most of the time. If you use sniper scopes, it automatically turns off. But other than that, with DMRs, I might turn it off, but most of the time I have this turned on. Brightness is a personal thing. I use 60, depends what kind of monitor or TV you have, but 60 is the one I use. And for motion blur and all these like cinematic type of things, I turn them all off. If you like more immersed gameplay, you might want to turn these on, but I like to be able to see what's going on around me, so I turn these all off and put this one to 0. For field of view or HUD general, pretty much all default. Camera shake all the way down. This one I definitely recommend. And then I have colorblind mode setting to custom, and once you set it to custom, you can change these colors if you want to. And I've changed my squad color to dark blue. If you struggle to see the difference with green and red, then you might like to turn this one to dark blue, or just a different color than green. But this is what I use now. There's no exact, I cannot really share the exact grading of this one, but yeah, it's pretty much kind of dark bluish. The kill lock, I have this turned on and set by nearby. At the moment this is bugged, unfortunately, but what it should do is it should show the kills and deaths close nearby, pretty much. So if you see something in the kill feed, it will show up. Hopefully by the time you're watching this video, this will be fixed, but maybe it's not. So that's what I use. And then for crosshair, these are all on default besides the hit color. I turned this one to black. So the rest is all by default settings. Minimap here, I have this one set to 90. I'm pretty sure these ones are on default, but this one's to 90, and I must say that I like 90 a lot more. You can see a lot more of what's going on around you. I would like advise to mess around with this one a little bit, because the default one is a little bit too low. But if you have bad visibility, you might like the lowest one, because you can actually see what's going on around you. But the higher you go, the more you'll be able to see around you, like the further away. So you get a lot more awareness of where to go to where enemies could be. But if you struggle to see the minimap, with bad visibility, then you might want to turn this one like down. I use 90. For sound, I use 3D headphones. You might like this, you might not like this. The audio in the game is not really good overall. With footsteps, there's not really a trick to get better footsteps. I use 3D headphones, might be kind of the best-ish. If you want really immersed gameplay, again, you might like war tapes, this one, but otherwise I would recommend 3D headphones. But yeah, the overall sound in the game is not very consistent. For controls, I use default for everything but on foot. So also for the aircraft, I get a lot of questions. I use default settings for the aircraft. And then I have custom button layout, which I can explain, because it's kind of hard to find it again. I was looking at it earlier. So pretty much everything is default, but R3, so your right thumbstick, and circle are switched around. So with circle right now, I can knife, and then if I press R3, I can go crouch, prone, and slide. So those two are switched around, and then I've switched around R1 and R2. So I shoot now with R1, and then R2 is pinging players, or pinging whatever is around you. And then for an L1 and L2 are switched around. So with L2 I switch my attachments, and with L1 I ADS. So that's the stuff I've changed around. The rest is all default for whatever I use. So now for the sensitivity. I don't think there's anything interesting here. No. I mean, I have this on inverted. You might like this, you might not like this. There's not really a better option. For some reason, it was just natural for me to have this on inverted. For a lot of people, it is, I think. But if you don't like inverted, you might want to turn this one off. So for on foot, 90 soldier aim sensitivity. This one is 100% personal. It doesn't mean that if you use high sensitivity, it's going to be better for you. But this is just something I like to use. Field of view is on 90, ADS FFV on, I already said that. The aim assist, I put this on 50 and zoom snap on 0. If you struggle to track players, I recommend lowering this because by default they're both on 100. At the moment, when I'm making this video, aim assist is very inconsistent and broken. So the lower you go, the more consistent you will be, but it's just overall hard to aim with a controller, I guess, for shooter games. So I recommend putting this to 50. It will help a little bit with the hip fire, but when you're ADSing, it doesn't get all inconsistent, so you actually have control over what you're doing, instead of letting, you know, the aim assist do the work, which doesn't really do the work. It just makes things very inconsistent. So if you want to build muscle memory, lower the soldier aim assist and just disable zoom snap. I always recommend disabling zoom snap. Soldier sprint to click. I think here this is all pretty much the soldier zoom sensitivity is on 60. So I use pretty much 60% of my soldier aim sensitivity. That's how that works. So this one is a percentage of your soldier aim sensitivity. So if I would put this to 100, it would feel the exact same when you're ADS'd or when you're hip firing. If that makes sense. So uniform soldier aiming on, and I have this to 133. I couldn't really find something that I liked. I had 133 in Battlefield 5, so that's what I'm using. That's the only reason. Don't really recommend something here. Kind of mess around with it, but I do recommend putting soldier uniform soldier aiming on to have more consistency. Acceleration is all the way to 0. Also for muscle memory, it's better. If you by default this might be on 50 or 100. If you turn this down, your sensitivity is gonna feel a lot faster when it really doesn't get a lot faster. But for more consistency, I recommend putting this to 0. And then these are all on default. Vehicle aim is on 90. Gunner aim to 90. 90 as well. There's the field of view. So that is pretty much that. I think most of these things are just on default. And that's that. I'm gonna put this one to 0 right now, actually, because I always forgot to do that. So this one's on 0, and this one's supposed to be on. I don't know why that is off. This is supposed to be on. So 0 aim acceleration, again for more consistency, and then uniform vehicle aiming is going to be on. Don't know why that was switched around actually. But yeah, that's what I use for that. Controller tuning. Oh, these are my dead zones. Vibration, of course, off. Center dead zone 13, 15. Here I have 13, 15 as well. Then for the dead zones, I use 0, 0. What is this? This is L2 and R2. So yeah, you might want to mess around with this. I don't really care too much about the L2 and R2 because I don't shoot with them. It's mainly the thumbsticks that matter to me. So this is what I use for dead zones. It's quite high. as there's a lot of very good players that use a lot lower than this, but I would just prefer it this way. So these are my dead zones. Don't really prefer anything again, as I said. Just use something you might like. I think we already went over these settings. Yep, we did. Subtitles, controls. In case I want to see, and I think that's gonna be it for the settings video. So hopefully it was useful. This is the settings I'll be using for probably at least half a year. And maybe if I'll move to PC or play some mouse and keyboard, because I'm planning to, I'll release another settings video about that later on. But this is the controller settings that I use. So hopefully it was useful. Again, settings are personal. Some of these things I recommend using, but settings are always going to be a personal thing. There's never a best thing, or there's never going to be a setting that's going to make you like into a god tier player, I guess. But hopefully it was useful. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.